You know, we walk over them every single day and probably don't give them a second thought. But right under our feet, in the world of the Florida carpenter ant, there's a medical drama playing out that is, well, it's as sophisticated as it is brutal. We're going to dive into how these tiny insects have basically evolved into shockingly effective surgeons.
So picture this. A forager ant comes back to the nest with an injury, maybe a crushed leg from a fight. It's not just left to die, no way. Its nestmates actually gather around it to make a really critical decision. Now, we've seen some basic wound care in other ants, sure, but this species, they take it to a whole other level. The injured ant's life is literally in the jaws of its friends. And they have two totally different options. The first is what you might call gentle care. The nestmates will meticulously lick and clean the wound, trying to stop an infection, all while keeping the leg intact. The second option? It's way more radical, a full-on amputation. They just chew the injured limb right off. So what on earth makes them choose?
And that is the central mystery here. I mean, think about it. That's an incredible decision for an insect to make. Are they just guessing, flipping a coin? Or is there some kind of hidden logic, a sort of medical rule book that's guiding them to either save the limb or cut it off?
Well, it's anything but random. Biologists watch this happen over and over, and they found that the ants' choices were remarkably consistent. This is no accident, not some trial and error thing. It's a highly evolved skill that the whole colony has, shaped by natural selection to give them the best possible chance of survival.
So what's the secret? How do they know what to do? The answer, the first huge clue, turned out to be, well, surprisingly simple. It all comes down to where on the leg the injury is.
Okay, so think of an ant's leg kind of like ours, right? It's got an upper part, like a thigh, and a lower part, like a shin. If the injury is on that lower part, far from the body, the ants almost always just clean it and save the limb. But if that same injury is on the upper part of the leg, close to the body, they consistently amputate. Same limb, different location, and a totally different treatment. Okay, so that just makes it even weirder, right? We know the rule they're following, but why does that rule work? What is it about an upper leg injury that suddenly makes amputation the right call? Well, the answer takes us deep inside the ant's own biology. This whole strategy, this entire medical system, is built around fighting one single relentless enemy: infection. For a tiny ant, a small cut can become a death sentence if bacteria get in and start to spread. So everything they do is designed to win this frantic race against killer germs. Now, to understand how they win, you need to know about something called hemolymph. See, ants don't have veins and arteries like we do. Instead, they've got this fluid, the hemolymph, that just kind of sloshes around inside their bodies, carrying nutrients and immune cells everywhere. It's their circulatory system, and it's basically the superhighway an infection uses to spread. And here's the first key piece of the puzzle. An injury high up on the leg, on that thigh part, causes a lot of muscle damage. That damage actually disrupts and slows down the flow of hemolymph from the leg into the rest of the ant's body. And what happens because of that is just wild. That slow circulation acts like a natural quarantine. It traps the bacteria from the wound inside the injured leg so they can't spread quickly into the ant's main body. And this creates a very short, but absolutely critical window of opportunity.
And that is the aha moment. Amputation is the right move because the other ants can physically remove the entire infected area during that small window before the germs have a chance to escape. They are literally cutting off the infection at its source while it's still trapped. It's an absolutely brilliant life-saving strategy.
So then, what about those lower leg injuries? Well, in that case, the circulation isn't really affected. The hemolymph flows normally, which means bacteria spread into the body almost instantly. So amputating at that point, totally useless. The infection is already loose. Instead, they do the next best thing: clean the wound like crazy to try and reduce the number of germs getting in. And the data just proves how incredibly effective this all is. An ant with a severe injury that goes untreated has maybe a 10% chance of survival, but an ant that gets the correct treatment from its buddies, its survival rate skyrockets to 95%. This isn't just some quirky little behavior. It's a legitimate and highly effective medical system. All right, so the ant survives the surgery, which is amazing. But what happens next? What's life like for a 5-legged ant? Is it just a burden on the colony now? The answer really shows you the cold, hard logic that's driving this whole thing. It turns out losing one leg isn't that big of a deal for an ant. I mean, you've got to remember, they have 6 to start with.
Most of these amputees adapt super quickly and just get right back to their jobs, foraging, fighting, whatever the colony needs. They stay productive members of their society.
And this really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about compassion, not in the way we think about it. It's about asset management. The colony has invested time and food into raising every single worker, so saving a functional, five-legged ant is an infinitely better deal for the colony than just letting that worker die from an infection.
When you take a step back, what's so incredible is how this ant behavior just perfectly mirrors principles that took human medicine thousands of years to figure out. It's this beautiful example of what biologists call convergent evolution, where two completely unrelated species independently come up with the exact same solution to the exact same problem.
And make no mistake, this discovery is a huge deal. Yeah, some animals might chew their own leg off to escape a trap, but this is the first time we've ever seen one animal systematically amputate a body part from another member of its species for a clear medical reason. It's totally unprecedented.
The logic is just identical. Human surgeons try to preserve tissue whenever they can, right? So do the ants. Surgeons remove tissue when it becomes a threat, just like the ants. Our medical treatments are tailored to the specific anatomy and risk. Theirs are too. And finally, both systems accept that a disability is a small price to pay for survival. It's the same exact playbook, just separated by hundreds of millions of years of evolution.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If ants are out there performing surgery based on a working knowledge of infection dynamics, what other complex behaviors, what other incredible secrets are playing out every single day in the world right beneath our feet, just waiting for us to notice?